And now, it's time for a Star Trek story. You know, we've watched a lot of Star Trek on this podcast. Spoiler. And I think I had mentioned it last episode, but so much of why I come to Star Trek is the optimism, the good feels, the good vibes, space jammies on space carpets in your space living room with your space family while watching the space big screen. So that does beg a question, though, because Star Trek can do lots of different things, but that's always kind of been like the overall tone. What do you think, Rachel? Does dark and edgy Star Trek work?
Well, I feel like I could answer this question better if I'd seen Deep Space Nine.
Oh,
or if I could,
you still haven't seen that one.
I've seen some, but not enough to speak, concretely on it. I've heard that it's darker, but I don't know. I feel like there has to be some through line. It does. Without the optimism, or at least the striving to try. See. This is the thing. You can see that Michael is striving to do good, and that I can see that through line with Trek. It's just where it goes dark. So I guess that would be my answer. I can maybe I can watch Deep Space Nine and then give you a better answer.
A better idea. Yeah. Okay. So yes, but if you are still kind of holding on to that, like striving to do good or be better kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Asterisks.
Yes.
Yes. Asterisks. Well, fortunately, yes, we are watching Star Trek today on today's episode of Star Trek Stories, so I guess we can see, if it does indeed work. Yes, this is episode 93, Battle of the Binary Stars. Yes, welcome to the show, everyone. I am your shadowy host, Jaron Edge. We are continuing with our look at modern Trek. Last time we watched the Vulcan Hello, the first part of this Discovery prologue, where we watched First Officer Michael Burnham kill a Klingon and mutiny against her captain. An auspicious beginning indeed. Yes, coming back, we got a couple of guest hosts on to watch this part 2. You've already heard one of them sitting in the captain's chair once again back on the show. Rachel Murtagh is here. Hello, Rachel.
Hi, Jaron.
How we doing?
Good.
Yeah, another sleepy Sunday.
Yes. I'm
totally
a lot
one.
less sleepy after having
Star Trek's invigorated us. We're awake now. Yeah. For those new to the show, Rachel is, of course, a dear friend of mine and the Hatchlings, the Hatch siblings. You were here, of course, for part 1 of this story, the Vulcan Hello. Before we get into this, I always like to ask people for these part 2 episodes, what are you hoping to see for part 2? Any predictions?
Well, I texted you my prediction so that just in case I'm right, just in case, I don't want to, because since you've already seen it, I don't, just in case, I'm hoping, I hope that they can, get in contact with someone from their side. Yeah. And maybe get some help, whether that's some direction or just some, hang in there, we're coming, something like that is my, if not hope, that's my, if not my prediction, that is my hope for the characters.
Yeah, help is coming. Help is hopefully coming.
Yep.
I'm going to be very curious to hear your thoughts on how this all wraps up. Thank you for coming back. very excited. Also coming back from last week, sitting to my left on the green comfy couch, back on, of course, the lovely Salem Rogers is back on. Hello, Salem.
Hello.
Wow, it's been so long.
I know.
Minutes.
Yep.
Tons, like hundreds of seconds.
Hundreds of seconds.
Yes, for those who are new to the show, Salem is also a very dear friend of mine and a former coworker from Utah Symphony.
Former
Utah
colleague.
Opera. So sad. But all, colleagues always in spirit. Because we've all done we've done the Sundance thing, we've done the arts nonprofit thing. So yeah. Colleagues. Yeah. Of course, you were here last week for the Vulcan. Hello. I'm curious. What do you think, Salem? Any hopes or predictions for part 2?
Oof. I genuinely don't know. Of course I anticipate we are going to see further escalations. We're going to keep upping the ante.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's gonna happen. Okay. Wow, that didn't happen, Jaron. Like they became friends. It was like a 30-minute kind of like barbecue with the Klingons episode. Best Star Trek
that would be
show ever.
very subversive.
Wow, very bold choice. Hell yeah! I'm also curious as to what you are going to think about this one. I'm also going to throw out our question from earlier to you, Salem. Though I know one of these words has a particular connotation for you, but what do you think? Does dark and edgy Star Trek work? You have seen good chunk of Deep Space Nine, so
and yes, Deep Space Nine is darker and it is more serialized than the original series, certainly. But aesthetically and stylistically, it's not quote unquote dark and edgy in the way that this is this first episode that we just watched here. It still has that through line of maybe being a dark kind of stage play, versus what we're doing here, which is a lot more atmospheric.
That kind of spectacle dark and edgy.
Yeah. Which again, effective formula for sure. Does it work for Star Trek? It certainly stretches and challenges my conception of Star Trek. Perhaps I will have a more fully formed answer at the end of this episode.
Okay. Yeah, it's it's kind of a loaded question just from how I word it, of course. But I guess I use those words and terms specifically because there is always an instinct, not always, but there is this instinct to, if you feel like this instinct in order to modernize something, especially in the modern media landscape, it can lean into this dark and edgy. A good example of this, I don't necessarily mean this disparagingly. A good example of this is Sabrina the Teenage Witch. There was the original 90s silly sitcom, and then the Netflix kind of revival came back, the dark and edgy one. And it's not all revivals or kind of, but that seems to be an instinct in the modern media landscape. If you're gonna bring it back, you gotta be darker or edgier with it on some level.
It is, and I have a kind of adjacent thought to that. I've seen that happen. This is actually similar to what happened when they adapted Wheel of Time, or not. They adapted it incompletely, but you see in that first episode, it's clear that they did not trust that the character would embrace, modern day audiences would not embrace a pure-hearted, innocent kind of. They had to he was already hooking up with his girlfriend. The Perrin was already married. There's and I can see it because I can't relate very much anymore to those kinds of characters. But it doesn't mean that I can't still like Lord of the Rings. Like there's I don't know. I think it's a challenge with modern day audiences that are more cynical. I think you could do it, but it is more challenging, and it does feel kind of like with like they're going to be redoing Buffy. That one already wasn't like, I don't know, that didn't have that already got dark and edgy at some point. Yeah, so that begs the question: how much darker and edgier can you get than Buffy? Which
it depends on how much and how well you do it. It is interesting. It's an interesting instinct to think that's what you should do. Of course, that's not how they all go, but it does seem to be a recurring pattern. And then it's just doubly more interesting to consider for something like Star Trek, which again is the optimistic space jammy show. Let's go dark and edgy with that one. All right, yeah, I guess we can see if Discovery makes a case for dark and edgy Star Trek. Because yes, we are watching Battle of the Binary Stars today on Star Trek Stories. This premiered the same day as the last one, September 24th, 2017. This is the second episode from the first season of Star Trek Discovery. And this episode debuted immediately following the first episode that aired on CBS. Then this immediately became available on the app. And I think it's the first time they've ever done anything like that, where like two episodes came out on the same day. So also kind of something new for Star Trek. So yeah, continuing on from last time, we can kind of see this was their whole attempt to launch both a new Star Trek show and a new streaming service. So part of what we also can talk about when we come back is like, how successful do we feel this is like a watch our new Star Trek and streaming service. And we can see if this is an effective way or a good way to bring Star Trek back to the small screen. Because up to this point, it had been over a decade since there had been Star Trek on TV, so pretty big gap. So yeah, we can see and just see also how the story itself works out. So very curious. All right, everyone at home who's going to watch along with us. Star Trek Discovery is streaming on Paramount Plus. You can find it by bringing up Season 1, Episode 2, and we will be back after we watch Battle of the Binary Stars.
On Vulcan, lateral vector transporter technology has been discarded due to the massive amount of power it requires.
Starfleet has phased out the design as well. Sunjo is old, but she gets us where we need to go. Is this vessel not up to your standards?
I have no standards when it comes to this ship. It was always my intention to join the Vulcan Expeditionary Group.
Sometimes the universe allows for the making of unexpected memories.
Emotional platitudes are not what I was hoping for.
Well, you've really been away from humans for a long time. I'd say you're too confident for your own good, but I've seen your record.
As I have seen yours.
And your confidence is justified.
As is yours.
Ready to see your new home?
Captain on the bridge?
Not too shabby, huh?
Engineering, there's a minor but detectable loss of efficiency in the phase conduction coil.
It appears to be functional.
I understand your hesitation, Michael. It's hard leaving Vulcan and everything you've known behind. But I assure you, this can be your new home if you want it to be.
Thank you, Captain.
We just got done watching Battle at the Binary Stars. In case you haven't seen this one, didn't watch it with us, this is the conclusion to the previous episode. So they're in this situation when they're on the brink of war with the Klingons. Klingons are being led by T'Kuvma, who wants to unite all the Klingon houses in a war against the Federation. Because of concerns of like Klingon purity and losing their individuality. It's a lot of fear of the other kind of a thing that's kind of motivating them, and also just this kind of like T'Kuvma also though seems genuinely interested in like unifying as people, and we've recently had Michael Burnham commit mutiny against the captain, and she's in the brig. So essentially what plays out is more or less like a lot of it's like the war actually breaking out. It doesn't matter like what they were ever going to do, like this war was going to happen, and all the Klingons show up, and then the Starfleet shows up, and they get into a big old firefight, and there's lots of losses on both sides, but they do say that the Federation has taken more losses. They come up with a plan that like Burnham is able to, after like the ship is like disabled, she's able to like escape the brig and get back to the bridge and offer to help, and Captain Giorgio comes up with a plan to get aboard, like to damage like the big Klingon flagship and damage it, and try to take T'Kuvma alive to try to put an end to the war. They disable the ship. They both beam over. It does not go according to plan. Captain Giorgio is killed by T'Kuvma. And Burnham ends up killing T'Kuvma. So the captain dies, and she does not. The they don't take him alive. So then he becomes the martyr figure that they now all really rally behind. And then it ends with them abandoning ship. The war is implied to still be going. And Michael Burnham has been sentenced to life, stripped of rank and sent to life imprisonment for charges of mutiny and assaulting a superior officer. And that's the note it ends on. Bleak. I think you said, Salem.
Yeah,
pretty bleak.
quite bleak.
So we'll start with initial thoughts. Salem, initial thoughts coming on off of Battle of the Binary Stars.
Kind of fatalistic. What could they have possibly done differently? What could have possibly prevented this? It's a bummer that Michael made the sacrifices that she did and ends up in prison at the end of it, because it seems like it didn't make much of a difference. And we were kind of talking earlier about Michelle Yeoh's character as this really optimistic kind of through line that tethers this to more
Star Trek.
Yeah. And we literally have our little optimistic symbol die at the end of this. Still yes, effective, engaging, interesting. I did not like this episode as much as the setup in the first one.
Yeah.
It's just quite dour.
Quite dour, putting it mildly. This is, the first one was dark. This is much bleaker. They crank it up. I think, I will get into it. I think I do also agree that I like part one better than part two. But Rachel, I want to hear your initial thoughts on Battle of the Binary Stars.
I think I'd agree with that. I did like the first episode more than the second. I didn't hate the second. I just, especially, because I figured Michelle Yeoh's character wouldn't really stick around because she was listed as a guest star. So if you watch the credits, that's always a bit, and you know who the actor is, it kind of spoils that for you. But it didn't mean that, could have just meant that they departed and they went different ways, Right. But I did suspect that she would be killed off, because that would of course be tragic if you end your first episode with mutiny. Surely you end your second episode with the death of your commanding officer. So I don't know. I am interested to see where, is this, and plus, their ship wasn't called Discovery, and this is, so, is the next one Discovery, where they're, is she, in a floating prison? Or is it, years after she's gotten out of prison? Is she out on parole for a special Discovery mission with other parolees or something? I don't know. I'm interested to see where it goes. I also did notice they have given special attention to putting in detail and effort with the full culture and emotional involvement of the Klingon, and they went on it all in. You're not going to get as much empathy about them as you would have as you would with a culture who didn't go around intentionally killing everybody. But they did try to balance that out.
They do try to humanize them or Klingonize them.
And I did notice again a second Game of Thrones kind of reference with the follow the light, and having someone related to following the light who is a savior and uniting people, and it's that's there too. Yep.
Game of Thrones, Star Trek, like I say. I'm curious to get what do you guys think about the Klingon characters? We've talked a little, and even just the Klingons in general, because this is a somewhat radical redesign of them compared to how we've seen them in previous. So I'm curious as to what you guys think about what do you guys think about the Klingons?
Design's great. Yeah, the character design, like, I really like the look of them, like, in this.
Much more alien.
Yeah. I'm not, like, wowed by any of the Klingon characters. Like, they're fine.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like we're not reinventing the wheel here.
No.
But they look good.
Okay. So, good design.
Fine. Like, passable, fine.
Passable, fine. I mean, they because in a lot of ways, the Klingons are kind of more so, like, plot fuel for, like, the drama between these characters.
Yeah.
But they also have to kind of, like, but they can't just be monsters. So we do have to flesh them out. Well, I don't know. What do you think, Rachel, like the Klingons?
I think it's hard to latch onto them because they're... I don't know, maybe simpler. They're less complex. There's a lot of the patriotism and stuff. We're not really exploring their psychology behind it. They've got a mission. They're surrounded by loyal people and strong opinions, and it's interesting enough to watch, but not interesting enough for me to be like, oh, I really like this character.
What's going to happen to you're not coming away from like, I want to see what happens to Burnham and Saru, but you're like, what happens to those Klingon characters? No one is thinking about them.
The contrast between what's happening between the each of the cast is just on a different level for me to. Of course, I'm going to be more interested in what happens with
our Starfleet characters.
With the crew. I do think that they've it's hard because if you go all in, you don't want to distract from the elements that you need to develop your main characters, but you also don't want to dismiss that antagonizing force without providing them enough depth for them to truly be a good antagonist force. So I don't know. I think it makes sense that we're not latching on to any of them in particular. They're enough where I was feeling really really bad for the one guy that had dedicated himself to his leader, and here he's dying on the floor, and I'm like, oh, this is a soft exchange, but it's not.
But as soon as they're off the screen,
I'm like, what's happening with what has Burnham gotten herself into next?
Yeah, cool. But what's happening with Burnham? The Klingons are probably the most controversial thing in the fan base.
Really? You mean widely or in Discovery?
In Discovery, a lot of the fans did not like how the Klingons in this. They thought it was the majority of the fandom did not like the redesign. They felt it made them too monstrous, or like people were throwing around the term like Klingon orcs. Like they kind of feel like orcs rather than like the more kind of noble Viking-y kind of Klingons we saw. And a lot of people didn't latch on to the character. Like they felt it was too simple. They were just like, they're kind of like, it is kind of like vague, like purity themes. And, like there's T'Kuvma's kind of backstory. Like we get some flashbacks to his character. But it's a night and day difference to like how much more interesting Burnham's flashbacks are compared to T'Kuvma. Like, because they're trying to do both and kind of, but T'Kuvma's there's just kind of this vague, I was a boy and I grew up and I was beaten and I will unite our people but remain Klingon. I'm like, well, why are you so gung ho about Klingons? It's like you had a shitty childhood because of Klingons. I'm like, it's just kind of, it's a little vague. Yeah. And so it's hard to really like latch on to him aside from just these kind of talking points, these kind of racial purity talking points. So it's just it feels a little thinly drawn.
Yeah.
When we know in other shows, Deep Space Nine, Next Gen, like the Klingons can be much more nuanced and complex than that.
So compelling, like fantastic characters. Yeah. And I don't hate, like, it is a radical redesign, but I don't hate that. Like, that's probably the thing overall I like the most about this is like how stylish this is overall, and how committed it is to like the style it's trying to execute here.
Yeah, they go for it, and you can't fault them for like half-assing it. No, certainly not at all. You do get more with the Klingons as the season goes on, but because you said, Rachel, it's like every time we're with our Discovery characters, like it's just so much more compelling.
Yes,
and the other stuff is like okay. I wonder if they tweak this, and it might even play up kind of Michael's point of view and everyone's kind of fear better if what if we didn't see anything on the Klingon ship? It was all from their point of view of because we get a lot of like, what is this? And it's like, oh, it's the Klingons. No one has seen them in years. But for the audience, it kind of robs us of some of that tension because we see their big expository scenes about we will unite and this, and I'm like, what if you didn't see any of that? And it was like maybe like they see like the guy on the like the torchbearer in the first episode. It's like we see the guy like in the suit that tries to kill her or whatever, and maybe like toward the end of the episode we see like Takuma come up on the screen or something like that. But what if they played them much more kind of mysterious, and we didn't understand the motivations, and like that might make it even that much more understanding of like being in Michael's headspace, because we as the audience, it's like no matter what they do in this situation, they're fucked. Like the Klingons, like what could they, even if Michael was like the best officer possible, they're just still fucked. Like this war is happening no matter what. Now, like her actions don't help things and kind of make things worse, but this was always going to happen. So, but if we don't really know that they're just that committed to war, and that there is this kind of messianic figure leading them.
Right. I think you're right. I think that would have actually elevated the episode and the introduction to the series to take it have that awareness of the difference between showing what only our cast sees and also getting that. It reminds me of when I was reading the first book in the Wheel of Time. I was listening to the audiobook, and one of the characters screams, "Oh, we have to run, it's a worm." And someone is like, "A worm?" And he's like, "No, a worm." And I was like, "Oh, it's just it adds a different experience. It adds a different layer that I think that would have been
increase the tension, and just makes it harder to fully appreciate. Like, is she doing the right thing? Is she doing the wrong thing? Because again, we don't know what's going to happen if we don't see the Klingon point of view. But we know it's like, look, they're going to war. Like this is just going to happen. So.
Yeah, what if the Klingons have become Buddhist,
Yeah, we don't know.
We don't know what's happened in 100 years.
Because even like the very first scene is not Discovery, but the Klingons. It's a cool opening shot. But I kind of liked in the beginning when we didn't really know, like, because we kind of like in the first part, we know there's like this mysterious object they come across, but we as the audience kind of know at some point, like, was Klingons, like, because we already kind of know they're showing up, and we're not surprised when we see, because when she sees the guy in the suit and it's like, and the computer identifies him as Klingon, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, the Klingons, we know they're here. So it just feels like it might up the dramatic tension and the messiness of her decision and not knowing, being more in the dark about whether or not she's doing the right thing. And it's like, she really fucked up, and nothing she could have done would have saved this.
Yeah, it is a great setup for a true redemption story. That you've really, you've laid it out. That is very compelling.
What's the verdict? I'll start with you, Sam. Like, now that we've kind of seen this whole story, you kind of see how this is going to set up the show. Is this a successful relaunch of Star Trek on the small screen?
I don't hate it. Yeah, I don't know that I would continue watching this on my own. It's not terrible. And like it is compelling. I do like a lot of the characters. I think that there's something here for sure. But I don't necessarily know that just for my personal taste that this is what I come to Star Trek for.
No, particularly if you still have got a million other Star Trek shows.
Yeah, there's so many other Star Trek shows that I think I would rather watch than this one.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I think that's fair. Because I mean, again, like some people are like, you can't compare it to the other shows. I'm like, that's a hard ask. Like, yeah, because it's part of a franchise. How can you not? That's part of the whole thing. Is that it kind of calls for it, comparing them.
And like I think even in like a vacuum, like it's a fine show, and like it's not that it's not engaging or interesting, but even if this didn't have like the Star Trek branding on it, I don't know that like I personally would like go out of my way to watch this.
Check it out. Okay. Interesting. Star Trek is what brings you to it, but then you're like, but I also have other Star Trek shows to watch. Yeah. Interesting kind of conundrum to be in with like this show. Rachel, what do you think? Successful relaunch of Star Trek in the modern age on TV?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I feel a little differently, but it might also be because I'm not like the biggest fan of necessarily any of the other Treks. Like I would watch Voyager, and I'd definitely watch like The Next Generation, and you know I would watch them. But I don't always choose to watch them. I haven't gone through like the whole series.
Sure.
So it feels like it's I would watch it myself, but also it's for like a Trek. I hate to say it, I feel like I like it because it doesn't feel like Trek, and there are just certain things. I think it's because I struggle to be positive, and Trek is more positive, and I don't know. I've always felt like more some of these darker stories. It feels more real for me to recognize that depth to it. That, you know, sometimes no matter what you do, you're fucked. And not that like you definitely like. There's definitely some of that despairing stuff, and some of the, but then you know I feel like you get brought back. Sure. And with this, I'm not quite sure. Except for what you told me, I wouldn't have guessed where it might have, I wouldn't be sure where it would end up, because those first two episodes felt so conclusive. I feel like it reminds me almost like the first couple of episodes of Arcane, in that you're introduced to the world, the characters, and you don't really see what's going to come next. And I feel like it would have been better and felt more Trek if you could be like, okay, that was a nightmare. Now we're gonna be like waking up. Yeah. We're going to therapy. We're getting some space jams on. They feel itchy at first, but we'll get used to it. I don't know. I feel like they could have added it. Like, I don't know, even a brief. I don't know. I feel like it would. They should. I feel like they should have given a more of a reason to watch the next episode, because the last one ended on such a big cliffhanger. It felt so conclusive. I'm like, okay. Do you, I have no idea. Is she gonna go off and I'm gonna watch a show of someone in prison? Like, you need to tell me to come back.
You're still not really sure what the premise of the show is.
I think they were focused so much on the first two episodes that they forgot that. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe. That's just me. Yeah,
I mean, this almost feels like this almost feels conceptual, like a prototype, you know, before they get into like what the day-to-day like show is going to be. Okay, so like a yes to like kind of maybe, okay, and I feel like this is more or less kind of generally speaking the general consensus at the time was like, okay, we'll have to see more.
Yes, yeah, I can definitely see that would have been how everyone reacted at first.
There were definitely lots of fans, of course, who were just like, "Fuck this! This is the worst thing." But there's always that. I feel like now that you're talking about it, I feel like I might have heard some, but I didn't know at the time, like which. Especially since there have been so many since then, which one was which.
I don't know. I'm interested to see the next one. Although I'm so fucking sad Michelle Yeoh's only in 2 episodes. That makes me like, I showed up for Michelle Yeoh, and
I know, she's so good. I was devastated. I'm like, no, at least give us a season of them together before like you get rid of her. And like, because their dynamic is really great. And
I liked the dynamic.
Really well. And we'd never had this before, like 2 women in those roles. I'm like, why are you killing her off in the second episode?
Again, give us a reason to. We came and watched, so give us a reason to come back. It was a great little dynamic.
That's a good summation of final thoughts. Shout out to Michelle Yeoh. What'd you guys think? Michelle Yeoh.
But all of the characters are really good. I like Burnham's actress. The imitation of the Vulcan fucking intensity,
like a human trying to play it.
I totally saw that, and it's, I don't know, the earnestness of this character is
she's different. She's compared to what we've got in the past. She's definitely different. Like, again, she's got the captain energy, but like this
expectant captain energy almost. It's the Gryffindor thing. I could be the captain.
Burnham Rising.
There's and actually too, I can't remember if I'd said this while we were recording or not, but when we'd seen the title Binary Stars, and I thought, like the choice between good and evil that they're going to have to be making, but as I was watching the second episode, I realized that that's not really the choice they're being presented here. It's for Burnham, it's the emotion or logic, which one is going to lead her to the right path or not.
But then it's basically given a situation where like neither of these are going to lead anywhere good, actually. Because you actually this is just going to be a bad situation.
Another example of why binaries tend to be a bad thing.
Neither one quite worked out. All right, I think we'll wrap it up there. Salem, thank you so much for coming on and watching some Discovery. Lovely to have you.
Fun, thank you.
I've been fascinated. I'm like, what? I think Salem will be good for this one. Like, and I'm like, I have no idea how you're going to respond to this, and I've tried to kind of not set too many expectations. So
kind of mid.
Okay, kind of mid from Salem. Okay. But I would love to watch it with you. Thank you. Come on. If and when we do more Star Trek or nerd movies, we'll definitely be reaching out again.
Great.
Rachel, thank you as always for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
I've also been so fascinated. I'm like, Rachel would be good for this. I mean, like, because I know how much. I mean, we like, a lot of times when we've hung out talking about Game of Thrones and specifically, I'm like, I think Rachel should come on for the Game of Thrones Star Trek show.
Yeah, you are so right. This is totally me. It's
up your alley.
This is totally up alley. I hate it. I feel so got.
It worked. I would have kept watching. I would have had CBS All Access. Damn it. Amazing. All right, and thank you at home for listening. We hope you enjoyed our coverage of Battle of the Binary Stars, if not the episode itself. Next time, we're going to be jumping into a new series in this modern Star Trek era. Star Trek's shortest series, in fact. The appropriately named Star Trek Short Treks. the most blip Star Trek show of the entire pantheon. These are strange little oddities in the Star Trek canon. These little Star Trek shorts they did also around this time, and I think most fans kind of forget they exist, but they do count toward the official episode count. So we are going to be watching one. We are specifically going to be watching Children of Mars. Oh boy, Children of Mars. And these little guys are so short. Next week, it's literally just me. Gonna be me watching it and letting you all know what I thought. Because they're so short. You can't. There's not enough to talk about with these. It's just cool. That was the thing that happened. So yeah, riveting stuff, I'm sure. Hope to see you all then. All right, everyone. Salem, again, thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Rachel, as always, thank you.
Thank you, Jaron.
We will see you all next time. Hopefully not serving a life sentence for getting your captain killed and mutiny. Yeah. Hopefully that's not happening. Oof. Okay, bye. Thanks for listening. If you'd like to share us your own Star Trek story, you can email us at storiedstartrek@gmail.com, or you can visit our Discord server. You can find us by clicking on the link in the show description.